For the majority of tradies, there has only been one van worth considering in recent decades, and that's Toyota's trusty HiAce, for its mix of reliability and incredible resale value. However, despite a recent update, the current iteration is getting quite long in the tooth. So we want to see how the HiAce compares against the latest generation of European van in Renault's new Trafic.
The Toyota HiAce needs little introduction. It has been on sale in Australia for 45 years, topping the sales charts for the past 2 consecutive decades. For 2015, Toyota has made mild revisions to its trade offering, comprising a new 5-seat crew cab variant and the addition of stability control across all variants. The long wheelbase diesel starts at $35,990, with the super long wheelbase model tested here coming in at nearly $45,000.
Now, the age of the HiAce is demonstrated pretty much as soon as you get in the driver's seat. There's very limited adjustment, no reach adjustment on the steering wheel, and the driver's seat itself can only be moved backwards and forwards, not up or down. Again, turn the key, and from the get-go you've got this really agricultural note. It actually sounds like the engine's right in behind you. But let's see how it goes anyway and see what this is all about. Now, I'm not sure whether that's coming through or not, but the HiAce is unapologetically a commercial vehicle. There's been no great effort really to make it refined or comfortable in the way it goes about its business. It's all about getting the job done, which is, for some people, no bad thing. But one of the notable differences between these two cars is that in the HiAce you just have this cage behind you. In the Renault you get quite a thick bulkhead, and what that does is really insulates the noise from the cabin. Another primary difference between these two is that the HiAce, you're actually sitting over the front wheels and I've got the engine positioned beneath me. What that means is that over normal roads it has more of a tendency to bounce over, really fast elongated undulations, so you sort of bounce, sometimes even porpoise when the road gets quite rough. But other than that, the HiAce has nice, predictable steering. It's really light and doesn't do anything too offensive in the way it drives. There's some notable body roll when really pushed through corners, but otherwise fairly easy to get around in.
The super long wheelbase HiAce tested is especially susceptible to road and engine noise, with considerably less sound deadening materials than regular crew cab models. No matter which variant you choose, the diesel-powered HiAce gets the same 3-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder unit that makes 100 kilowatts of power and 300 newton metres of torque, and sips on a fairly hefty fuel claim of 9.2 litres per 100 k's.
That fuel claim, however, in reality is far exceeded. It's not hard to do. We've done a lot of highway driving today, and even so, we've only managed 12 litres per 100 k's, so nothing too flash, and it's another element of why the HiAce isn't as current as what it could be.
Face value, the HiAce's ownership credentials look outstanding, but a closer inspection shows that's not quite the case. Standard servicing intervals are rated at every 10,000 kilometres or 6 months, well short of the Renault's 12-month, 30,000 kilometre intervals. The Renault also has a more extensive factory warranty than the HiAce, but how does it stack up out on the road? The 3rd generation model arrived in Australia last month, with the short wheelbase variant tested here priced from $36,990.
On the surface it may look like any ordinary van inside, but the Renault Trafic has quite a few nifty tricks up its sleeve. You've got the centre fold down seat. One feature that I really like is this inbuilt bit of plastic. Doesn't look like much on the surface, but it clicks into place and becomes like a clipboard, so you can put all your maps, paperwork, deliveries for the day, whatever in there. The other handy feature is this storage spot for a laptop. You can tie anything up to 4 kilos in there and know it's secure, and it's a really clever idea if you need a laptop and you're constantly on the run.
There's also an under-seat storage compartment that extends rear cargo space for narrow items such as pipe or conduit, thanks to a movable flap in the cabin bulkhead.
In addition to that more cosseting interior, it's clear from the outset that the Renault is a much more car-like proposition to drive than the HiAce. For one, its steering is much lighter and more direct, and the way it encounters bumps and restrains body roll is better resolved than the Toyota. The other standout feature with the Renault is the fact that it's much quieter from the driver's seat. You've got the fairly big bulkhead there behind the cabin, that really suppresses all the road noise from the cargo area, and it works really well to complement its more car-like dynamics. The one exception though is bumps. When you hit a really harsh imperfection in the road, it tends to thud through the wheels and creates quite a noise inside the cabin. But other than that, it's a fairly easy van to come to terms with, and it's definitely the more comfortable of the two out on the road.
The Renault is powered by a relatively compact 1.6 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel that produces 103 kilowatts and 340 newton metres. Allied exclusively with a 6-speed manual, it can sip on a claimed 6.2 litres per 100 k's.
Now, while it is down on capacity quite a bit, the 1.6 litre turbocharged engine makes up for it once it hits its straps from about 2,000 RPM. Below that, there's a little bit of turbo lag that can become a little bit frustrating in tight inner city stuff, but otherwise it's a very flexible engine. It works well with the 6-speed transmission, and the best part is economy. You're likely to see close to 1,200 kilometres to a single tank of fuel. The manual itself has a fairly smooth shifting action. It's a little bit notchy compared to a normal car, but happy to say it's an easy unit to use. From a driver's perspective, that bulkhead poses a very minimal restriction in terms of your outlook. It's got quite a large window in the middle, and that complements the large side mirrors with both standard and convex mirrors on each side.
It is clear that the Renault is the better packaged vehicle here, and on paper it is also the most practical, rated to carry 1,237 kilos on board against the HiAce's 1,185 kilo rating, with towing also rated above the HiAce at 2 tonnes instead of 1,400 kilos.
While the HiAce has a proven track record and people will continue to flock for it simply for that reason, the reality is that new European offerings such as the Renault Trafic are helping to redefine the segment. Not only is the Renault easier to drive and more comfortable, but its ownership credentials also outshine the HiAce, so a straightforward win to the Trafic.